We actually, it was something of an exhibition in two parts. Matt Witkowski, who is the curator of photography at the Art Institute of Chicago, and a friend, when he first came to town, we were at some kind of function, and I mentioned Dawood Bey's Harlem pictures. I said the Harlem USA series, with which he wasn't familiar. And he got me off guard, and I said, "Oh my God! Oh, Dawood's photographs of Harlem. I mean, they represent arguably kind of the last substantial documentation, body of work, street photography of Harlem in relationship to a kind of lineage of, from James Van Der Zee up through Bruce Davidson, right? So, a very body of work post-civil rights, in the 70s. And he shocked me because a year later he said, the Art Institute has some of the pictures, but they don't have all of the pictures, and I'm going to get the whole body of work, and I'm going to do a show of them. So when he mentioned that, Suzanne said, "Oh, it'd be great if you do the Harlem pictures. I'd like to do a show of Dawood's work after the Harlem pictures, up through the present." So this exhibition, when it was mounted at the Renaissance Society, coincided with an exhibition of the Harlem pictures at the Art Institute of Chicago. The Harlem pictures were taken between, I believe, 73, 74, and 78. So a 4-year, maybe 72 and 78, 6-year period. Very young photographer, very young Dawood Bey, who was engaged with, not just with street photography, but informal portraiture. And Harlem is, as a subject, has been documented over the course of the 20th century. So from, the period, if you think about the Harlem Renaissance, up through civil rights, the Harlem as a subject, it's the center of Black America, in a sense, is a very rich subject, historically speaking. So when Dawood would engage with taking photographs of Harlemites, he was aware of the fact that, one, he was working within that history, and two, that he was doing so after the civil rights movement. This is the early 70s. So in some sense, the idea of doing street photography of Harlem was nothing new. But now the context was one of Black nationalism. So the issue of cultural self-determination and representation. So the idea of a young Black photographer making pictures of people in Harlem, specifically to be shown at the Studio Museum in Harlem, is what really makes the picture special, right? So if the subject matter was tried and true, the historical circumstances and the historical context, the backdrop had changed. So I think that's really the kind of significance of the Harlem pictures. Now, the way that they function discursively in relationship to, a history of picture making, right? Harlem is also part of their beauty. So whether it's Helen Levitt, Gordon Parks, Roy DeCarava, Bruce Davidson, James Van Der Zee, Dawood was very aware of making pictures that would engage with those artists' pictures. So they have that layer, about them. So I think that's part of their significance. So this show begins after that body of work was completed.